So when we're talking about the things, if you subscribe to the theory of mine that, there is a reality fusion happening in Final Fantasy VII Remake with the ending and the whispers and all that kind of stuff, everything changes, right? But there's one thing that I haven't heard anybody talking about. Is there's change. Biggs has survived. They're rebuilding. They survived Sector 7. Zack's alive, and all this other kind of stuff. There's one thing that doesn't change in that ending credits roll, and that is Shinra. Shinra's completely unchanged at the end of this thing. They even have the scene with Rufus and Sung and Heidegger, and then they do the Metal Gear Solid villains kind of lineup. I liken that to a Metal Gear Solid Rogues gallery almost, when all the heads of Shinra are lined up right there, and Rufus is behind the table. Shinra's unchanged. Why is that? I've got a couple of ideas on why that might be, and not to even mention all the theories out there, but just sticking with my idea that everything's because of the singularity. There's a new reality fused because of butterfly effect, because of saving Zack, and that's had implications or whatever. But why wouldn't Shinra be changed? So I have an idea about that. So at the end of Remake, we see all the whispers funneling around the Shinra Tower, right? One idea is that they are possibly creating another singularity that Shinra is trapped inside of, because Rufus can see what's happening, and it could be a power of will thing too. Willpower is a big factor in the underlying theme of Final Fantasy VII's story, and most Final Fantasy games, to be honest. In most hero's journey type tales, willpower plays a big thing, but they say it a lot in Final Fantasy VII. Genova's will, Sephiroth's will, Cloudstripe's will, all these things, all the powerful characters and influential characters in the Final Fantasy VII world have reference to their will, their willpower. Even Tifa and the will of the planet, they go back to this all the time. Rufus Shinra has just as strong a will as any of those characters, but we'll get back to that in a second. The thing with the second singularity, we don't see it, and we see those whispers disperse to come to Sephiroth and create the other singularity, Destiny's Crossroads, right there. They come from the Shinra Tower to come right there. Now, I don't know, I can't recall if they're all emptied from there, or if half of them go over here and half of them are still there. If a singularity event's happening right there, or there's two at the same time, I'd have to go back and revisit that. I don't think the game is clear on that. But they were surrounding Shinra Tower for a reason, and Jenova is already out of the building at that point. So there'd be no reason for the Whispers to protect Shinra Tower. It wouldn't make any sense, right? So, and this is something that I haven't seen anybody talking about, which is why we're talking about it today. It's something that just dawned on me a couple of months ago. I was thinking about it, and I was jotting down ideas. But if there's a second singularity there, that would explain why Shinra is unchanged. And Rufus could see what was going on. So he could see the whispers. He could see all that stuff. But I think it just showed Sing, however you want to say it. I'm torn on how to say his name. But it seems that Sing cannot see the whispers. Rufus can. So that's one thing. The will of Rufus Shinra. So we talked about the singularity, right? The second singularity possibility. Anything inside the singularity was unchanged by the butterfly effect and the fusion of realities, or the changing, or the new reality, the changed reality. It was shielded from that. So you've got anyone within the Shinra building, possibly, right? anybody within the Shinra building, and of course Cloud and company in the main singularity. So you've got the two things happening at the same time. For some reason, Fate is protecting that. Now, whether Sephiroth is in charge of the Whispers at that point, or when we get Sephiroth off the chain, so to speak, after the party breaks him out of his spiritual prison when they defeat the Harbinger, right? Then he takes control. It's unclear at what point he's in control of them. So, because in the Shinra building, he is not. Jenova's will, which is powering that Sephiroth clone, and he stabs Barrett. He is obviously, Jenova, Sephiroth, whatever you want to call it, is obviously not in control of the Whispers at that point, because it's almost like that Sephiroth clone is testing to see what the Whispers are going to do, because I think Sephiroth and Jenova kind of have a shared will through the cell, through the DNA of the cells. So it's obvious they're experimenting at that point with what's going on and to see what the Whispers would do, and that's why Barrett was stabbed. So because Sephiroth has an understanding and a knowledge of how the previous time loops have worked, and so he would have known Barrett didn't die, so he was like, well, let me stab Barrett. Let me see what the Whispers do. Okay, the Whispers fixed it. Okay, got it. So everything within the Shinra building is unchanged, and Jenova's already gone at that point, so why would the planet want to make sure that the people in that building are unchanged? Rufus Shinra. Rufus Shinra, his willpower, his strong will. Rufus will have a say in how things play out with the planet. We saw in Advent Children that Rufus Shinra was like, hey, look, you know, I was really, we're really trying to change Shinra. We're trying to take it in a proper direction. Even Rufus Shinra even has a hand in some of Avalanche's dealings in Before Crisis. Rufus Shinra is kind of like a double agent at the top, kinda. You know, he's trying to make Shinra into something else while still playing this affront. But the planet knows that. The planet would know that. So you got Rufus Shinra, who's a possible anti-hero to the story. You know, he's a bad guy. He's in charge of Shinra, all that kind of stuff on the surface. But later on, it's revealed that, you know, his intentions were never just like end all, be evil and all that kind of stuff. You know, rule the people through fear. He goes into that kind of tirade. But I think the planet has plans for him, so keep him unchanged. The party's unchanged in the singularity. So at the end of the game, when we see everything that changed in the story, Zack being the big thing, but then Biggs is big too. Biggs is big, right? So Biggs is a big one. And then, you know, Sector 7 being pieced back together and whatnot. Evidence of Jesse. We don't know about Jesse, but we have evidence of Jesse on the table. So, but Shinra's unchanged. And we know the party's unchanged, right? Except for the fact that they know Aerith knows to anticipate that something's going to be off. But Rufus Shinra, unchanged. Unchanged. I'm excited for what that could mean, because if you all haven't thought about that, I wanted to pose that to you all today. So what are your thoughts on that? I know, I'm opening myself up for it, but hey, that's why we're here. Let's discuss it. I haven't seen anybody talk about it. What do you all think about the possibility of the planet shielding Shinra from the coming change? I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting take. I think it's an interesting story tactic, and it could add a lot more meat to Rebirth going forward, because Rebirth has several meanings. The rebirth of this new reality, the rebirth of the story, the rebirth of Sephiroth, you know, all this other kind of stuff. And also, one people aren't talking about is the rebirth of Cloud. This story will lead to Cloud becoming who he's supposed to be, the rebirth of Cloud, so to speak, after he puts himself back together in the live stream. I don't think we get that in this game. I think we'll get that at the beginning of, somewhere around the beginning of Game 3. But maybe they do it in this game. Maybe that's how the game ends. You get Cloud back. Maybe that's how the game ends. I still think you lose Cloud at the end of the game. I'm sticking to my guns on that one. Perfect, like tragic ending for the second act. standard storytelling in 3 parts. So I'm excited about that. Anyway, post your comments. Let me know what you all think. Throw a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, all that kind of good stuff. I'll leave you all with that to ponder on over the weekend. So have a great weekend. Be safe, be good to each other, and keep rocking. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care. I want to say a quick thank you to my YouTube and Patreon members and supporters. If you would like to support the future creation of content on this channel, get some few extra perks and some art sent to your door every month, consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. Details and links are in the video description.